Oh, we are live. Hello, hello, everybody.
Greetings
Zotz.
all. Hey,
Yes.
Bam.
Wonderful. This week's a little bit different. I'm running host, would you believe it or not? Haven't been on stream in a while, but here I am running host.
I
So
know.
I
I'm
gotta remember
excited.
my cues.
Excited to be working with you on a stream instead of just, at work, which is also exciting. Daily.
Yeah. So let's see. Gosh, what do the hosts usually do? Because this is a brand new job to me. Let's see. Weather. Let's start with the weather, of course.
Well,
Zotz, you had the privilege to come out to our Chicago offices just a couple weeks ago, dealing with
I
our frigid
did.
temperatures.
Yes, I got to experience, I don't know, was it 6-degree weather as I was walking around at night with the wind chills of -4. I think the most exciting part about that was the snow's blowing in my face when I'm walking, like, down Michigan. So, like, I'll turn left. And then the snow's still blowing in my face on Adams. And then I turn, like, left again. Like, it didn't matter which way I turned because downtown Chicago, the wind tunnels or something happening. Like, I couldn't not have the wind not blown in my face. So that.
The great windy city, but what temperatures are we looking at now that you're back in hopefully sunny California?
Oh yeah, it's gorgeous here in California. There's a good side and a plus side to it, right? Right now it's about 65 degrees and blue outside, but I have to report that the surf report is showing really poor surf conditions down in Santa Cruz right now, with about a 12-knot wind. So not a good day to be out on the boards, but that's okay because I'm here with you guys.
There we have it. Yeah, for us in the Chicagoland area, warming up a little bit, actually. I have not left the house in the past week as we were still in the frigid temperatures. Today we're at a 26, but it's sunny. The snow is starting to melt a little bit, and the weekend is supposed to get up to the 40s and going into next week. So some positives there.
Yep, Super Civ said nobody cares about the weather because they're all in their basements playing tanks. I appreciate that too.
Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta look outside.
But also, hello to everyone in chat. Yeah, I know I haven't been around in a while. I see a lot of hey Bams, hey Zotzes. Good to see familiar names, the familiar faces. Good hanging out with you guys once more. So, some
Absolutely.
other housekeeping and things to discuss, of course. KB, thank you. You already mentioned this and pinned it into the chat, of course. No, our Twitch drops are not currently working. The issue around them not making it into player accounts after claiming them on Twitch. We are, in fact, working on getting them fixed. And once they are, they will be re-enabled. Some more on that. Then, of course, yes, like I said, I'm playing host today. KB is dealing with a bit of a sickness bug at the moment, but she is in chat, of course, and monitoring and help us run the tech in the background as we are kind of moving forward here.
Yeah, get better soon, KB, and thanks for helping out.
Let's see, other things going on. Giveaways, of course. We will be having an active giveaway running. 2 lucky winners be receiving our recently released WZ141. We now spin the wheel, right? That's kind of the new thing for announcing our winners, I believe. So we'll be doing that toward the end of the stream.
Spin the wheel. I was actually really lucky with it last week. I could pick the colors, and then I went and bought a lot of ticket. I think I used up all my luck on the spin the wheel.
Oh. Before we get into some of our topics today, I also wanted to ask the chat and the community, and maybe yourself, Zotz, the Elite Eights, our event mode that we had run last week. It did come to an end this past Tuesday, of course, but just generally checking in. What did the players, think about the Elite Eights event mode?
Yeah,
what did you think? Did you get a chance to play any matches, Zotz?
I got a few matches in. Yeah, it was gangbusters. It's fun. It reminds me sometimes of like when we're doing our playtests here at work, when we just have a limited amount of folks that are very dedicated and romp you, right? We get some of the smaller playtests. So yeah, I really had fun with it. Looks like the feedback coming in for the folks thought it was great as well. Double mushrooms, that's got to be good.
There's a way to describe it. I definitely had strong behavioral changes playing the mode itself because every position you take, every shot you fire matters so much more when it's a 7v7 versus, when you've got your typical 15v15, it's like, well, I'll let the other guys up front kind of, start with at the front lines. I'll play a little bit of support behind them. But like my heart was pumping. So expect more of our Elite Eights and other event modes like that in the future, of course.
Yeah, Funky Monkey. That should have been 8v8. Yeah, weird misnoming. We'll fix that in post. but really the good feedback on it. And Commander Panzer, thank you so much. I'm glad that you like the D-Day event as well. And yes, we will be keeping those coming. So the year is young. Stay tuned.
All right. Well, Zotz and I also have very important updates and news to share with everybody today, and we're more than excited to kind of dive right into this and even cover any sort of questions that you guys may have as they come up. But without further ado, let's just go ahead and dive into it.
Does it
Zotz,
rhyme with Vigilante?
in fact, it does.
Absolutely. The Vigilante. You guys have been waiting for it. You guys have been coming on the journey with us on the updates that we've been making through your gathering the feedback from everyone, through going through super test a few times, through going through team tests and playing it like the design team, literally playing changes and checking things out daily for weeks. Then I was able to post a couple of weeks ago to you the things that we were changing. And now today we're actually going to be posting what those changes are and when you're going to be able to experience them. KB, do we have a visual? There we go. So here are the changes that we've made to things, and we'll go over these in detail as to the whys and wherefores and thinkings of these things. So first and foremost, the one thing that you guys were talking about was time to kill and how many bullets you had downrange and how it was effective. So the clip size was changed from 192 to 130. We did not turn it into an overheat mechanic, deciding collectively as a team that overheat stays in World War II and that the clip fed is more of a in Cold War and the clip fed is more for two. Yeah, scratch that, reverse it. Thank you. The other big thing was moving concealment. I know that one of my pain points was getting sniped from places I couldn't see and not being able to react to it. So moving concealment has also dropped significantly. Terrain resistance had a little bit of a change to it, so it's not as zippy. Of course, some of these things can be mitigated with equipment and with skills, but we think we found a good balance on these things here. And one of the big takeaways that we realized in the making of this was that that big round gun module portion and the barrel itself, none of that was part of the help pull the tank for being fired. I mean, that was literally like a big circular target that people would be aiming at and not being able to get that shot off to save you. So that is actually now part of the health pool of the tank itself. That was an overstep on us that we just needed to fix right away. And that definitely makes this tank a lot more of a glass cannon, if you will, right? You know, you can react to it and hit it, and it's got a much easier to target. The camo loss when firing again goes with move and conceal. And lastly, on the effectiveness of shooting and time to kill, the ricochet angles have changed from 90% to 70%. So you'll have more rounds bouncing off of things depending on how you're aiming. So those are the changes that we've made. Bam, do you want to fill in any more feedback on that?
Yeah, so a lot of the things that we were looking at, if you guys are questioning in terms of like, why not the overheat? Zotz, of course, commented in terms of like, that's a mechanic we're trying to retain as part of the Cold War. And us internally, we've done about a dozen or so tests of this tank, dating back into December and early into January, trying out different methods of like, okay, let's try out the overheat mechanics. This is feel right for the tank in and of itself. And the TLDR, if we're talking strictly on the overheat thing, is it added an extra layer of complexity of balancing and juggling mechanics while you also have a reduced clip size. And it really took away the fun factor of having a rotary autocannon in which you were able to, have that long duration of fire. And it ended up being like you're micromanaging two different meters at the same time, one being your ammo quantity and the other one being, of course, your overheat mechanic. And again, the other reason being is we wanted to keep the Vigilante for a lot of the players that have picked up the tank for themselves. We don't want to like rip the rug from underneath you guys. We want it to feel still very familiar to yourselves. It a little bit different, but not something drastically changed from what you expect from before. And additionally, as you were, Zotz, as you were commenting in terms of the gun module housing, as well as the the moving concealment and camo changes, this leans into a lot of the survivability changes that we changed for the tank. So they won't quite be as sneaky, getting up behind someone and just kind of ripping them apart. You will have a better sense of when they are getting close to you. And even if when they do fire, their detection range is a lot, they will be detected a lot more easier, and they'll have a little bit of a harder time to escape and get out of there. So hopefully playing a little bit more from afar than just scooting in, firing, and getting out of there.
Yeah, actually, in our yesterday's playtest, they were trying to sneak up on me. I smashed two of them. That totally felt good. So again, I want to talk about, like, all the testing, everyone that all the changes that we evaluated, potential changes from the player discussions, and again, really value your guys' feedback. Whether it was through Discord, social media, direct feedback. Your input played a huge role in shaping the Vigilante. This tank, again, went through Super Test, and our Super Test army is growing. Thank you for that, everybody, for joining that, where you actually can help determine what we're doing in the game and giving us even more detailed feedback. We did gathered all that, and it helped worked our test to fine-tune the changes, right? And a massive thanks to everybody out there for really dedicating and helping us refine this to get everything considered before going live. Speaking of live, when is this going live, Bam?
Drum roll. We will be adding the adjustments and changes to the T249 Vigilante this coming Tuesday.
Correct. So you guys will be able to experience these changes Tuesday. Now, I know, again, this took a long time. We're not used to having to make changes like this on a premium tank like this, right? So part of why it took a while was us putting together a good format and safeguards on how we wanted to make those changes based on your guys' feedback in the community of things. That now is in place. So should we ever have to do this again, it should go a lot quicker. I also want to say that this also informed some of our other Gatling style tanks. As we were going through them, they were being built, and the pillars and principles on how we were setting these up actually inform some of those tanks more to get them more balanced in the game, and those are the ones that you guys are experiencing now with things like the VADs, right? So again, learning from that process and going through it has already helped and strengthen the game.
Yep.
Thanks to you. Now, somebody did mention refunds, so let's address those a little bit. Yep. If you want a refund on this, that is your choice. Play it around first. See really what you think about it. But if you want the refund, then please contact player support, and they'll be able to assist you with that once it goes live. What else do we want to talk about this on this, Bam? We talked about clip size rate adjustment, mobility, survivability, visibility and range. It's kind of a glass cannon now. It's still really fun to play. Yeah, you can get out there and shoot things. We're noticing that, it's not the killer that it used to be. It's still pretty painful. It's still we want to retain, overall what the design of this tank was, but it is much more balanced now.
Yeah. I did see a comment go by in terms of the bleed damage. That is internally, we call that the always penetration mechanic of the tanks themselves. That does remain intact with the tank itself. Reason being, this tank is ineffective against a lot of heavier tanks in and of itself. And you will see with the ricochet angles that we have also applied, yes, there's also an increased chance that shots coming from the Vigilante will now bounce more often, but we are choosing to retain that bleed damage effect to have some sort of impact on certain tanks, heavier armored and thicker armored tanks, of course, so you can still be effective, but not heavily effective.
Agreed. And with that, again, coming out this Tuesday, so you guys will be able to play it yourselves and get the feeling on it. So thanks again for going on this journey, which took a little longer than I think we all wanted, but we got there. And now you guys will be able to have it in your hands. Speaking of having things in hand, let's talk about the roadmap.
Is it time for roadmap updates?
Yeah.
And sorry, I just now took a look at my thumbnail of my screen, I suppose. I chose a really bad background, as it's like mostly green, so I'm sorry, I apologize, chat, for the kind of distracting background I have going on here, and there's a floating balloon in the background.
I think they take that as a challenge for everyone watching to take that green screen and change it to something different.
I can't host and also do This is why I have a lot of respect for KB, as well as WingedRacer for handling a lot of the stream tech and also hosting at the same time. Hey, I'm just here to do the host and help Zotz as we're kind of walking through a lot of our updates this week.
Yeah,
Well,
so
okay,
remember that. Yeah, that roadmap we talked about over a month ago.
yeah, so we started gathering super test and community contributor feedback regarding skills, consumables, and equipment. Whilst we have a broad idea of what we want to do, we also want feedback and suggestions from you, the players, to help guide us with what should happen here. Now you might be asking, what about the player created thread on Discord? Very much rest assured that we have been reading through, and a lot of those ideas have been scraped and copied onto our internal documentation. Not to give you guys too many specifics, but a lot of things that you guys are talking about has a very close alignment in terms of what we are actually doing with commander skills, equipment, and consumables. So we've been very interested to hear what you guys have been providing and suggesting in the thread, but again, also opening it up to you guys in the chat. New commander skills, rework commander skills, equipment changes. Always open to hear from you guys. This is kind of a journey we're going to be going on. Let me stress really quick. It does say under exploration on the roadmap. This isn't something coming out in the next milestone. It's going to be a little bit longer of a road and a journey, but we are trying to walk you and include you guys on the development of these features.
Absolutely, and part of that development, of course, will be releasing it to Super Test for their feedback. They've actually, folks have already gotten what's what I'm looking for, Bam, where we send out surveys on ideas and things that they think would already help them change the game.
For sure. Let's see here. Hella, if that's a helium balloon, I think you should suck out the helium and read out the next section. Doesn't Discord just even have a filter that you could just do some voice modulation?
I think that's beautiful.
I'm gonna avoid
Yes,
that.
and the pizza for more, that's totally for Pele. That's our pineapple pizza. Exactly.
Okay, up next, other things that we have been going on, not explicitly listed here on the roadmap, of course, but the team has been working on a number of other quality of life features and improvements into the game itself. A lot of ideas we're not going to share just today. We'll save that for other content and streams into the future. But what I would like to express, and I think we talked about this some months ago, and we are starting to get a little bit more traction on it. This is specifically Cold War game mode, looking into improvements to our terrain and off-road handling. We are listening to player feedback and watching the ways that tanks perform in Cold War mode. We've been doing a lot of internal tests in the way that helps make the terrain and ground types matter more in the mode itself, and even makes the heavy tanks play more like heavy tanks in their roles, and maybe not quite up to the top speeds like light tanks and mediums and such. But that's all a lot of stuff we're still kind of exploring at this time and getting feedback, like I said. In fact, over just this past weekend, we had Supertest take a look at our current approach in testing. And whilst these changes are a step in the right direction, we have identified many areas that need further tweaks and changes. Once we've made said changes, we'll be going right back to Supertest to see how things are after that.
Yeah, absolutely. This is kind of bring a little bit of a realism into the game, but really more about time on target and making the fields go. They're not. We're not trying to nerf the tanks or pull them back. It's just kind of a more of a balance on the terrain systems, and thinking where they were. So if nothing else, it helps the tanks perform their roles a little bit more. The scouts can actually get there and scout before the MBTs get there, kind of moment. It doesn't mean that you can't still work together in Wolfpack. As a matter of fact, I always, if you don't have a wingman, then you're doing something wrong, in my opinion. I always try to grab a wingman in the game, if not, or not
Always
already
bring
playing
at
my
least
clan.
one wingman.
Yeah, exactly. If not already working with the clan. So so these are the things we're looking at. And again, as Bam said, we've got them in. It's in test mode. We're seeing what feels right, what works right, what's good for the game, without hampering your guys' gameplay experience.
Yeah. Deep Six in the chat comments. A more visible map boundary would be nice too.
Yes, that is on one of my hot topic lists. So you and I are thinking the same thing. I've already got the art team investigating the best ways to do that.
All right. Let's see here. I lost myself. I lost where I left off here.
When are we supposed to do a giveaway, Bam? I always forget.
End of stream. We'll be doing or
Okay.
KB. You tell me. You're running all the. I imagine all the computers like I have behind me is kind of your scenario right now. End of stream. Okay, we'll announce our giveaway. End of stream. Reminder. Yeah, it'll be 2 lucky winners receiving the WZ-141.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Deep Six is talking about how Cold War camo is way too expensive. Also, more Cold War friendly camo would be nice. Another thing on my bucket list for our roadmap is to be able to sort the camouflages differently, right? By fancy, Cold War, World War II, that kind of thing, historic, non-historic. We're looking at ways that we can do that because I'm a huge camo fan. I'm a clothes whore when it comes to the camos on my tanks and designing things for the camos on tanks. So
Yeah.
I get that. Yeah, yeah. So definitely a quality of life thing that I'm looking at, because I want it, and I know that you guys have been asking for it as well.
This is kind of a similar question. Hold on, the chat is going pretty quick here. This is from Max Miner Tanker. Like camos, Cold War skins that better fit each of the environments. Lighter for winter-esque, desert for darker. I know I have commented on this in the past as well. We are always developing some tank skins little at a time. Just when you have a game with demonstrably growing in tank quantity, of course, having to also create 4 different tank skins on a per tank basis is quite the undertaking. But the teams our artists are always working on updates and skins for them, so we slowly roll them out where they make sense.
Yeah, that when you're building out a skin, it's almost like building a whole new tank.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So we have to kind of balance that time with the artists in what they're doing.
All right. So up next here, let's see. Yeah, that's kind of our current development updates at the moment. So let's take a look at what else you guys can expect next week. I think we have some other exciting releases or news, perhaps, KB? All right. There you have it. The BZ branch finally making its tech tree debut coming this Tuesday. And hey, if you haven't already, you'll want to make sure you get to that Type 58. Get that deleted already, so that way you guys, starting on Tuesday, immediately can jump onto our new Chinese rocket tech tree line itself. So let's dive in a little bit. We can provide some details for these new tanks here. Zotz, do you want to? Oh wait, you wanted to. Okay, I'll start us off. I forgot you wanted to take the ladder.
Yeah, I'll take the later ones because they're my favorites. Go ahead.
Okay, so starting off with our tier 7 here, we got the BZ-58. This is a 1.5 mil silver cost. As noted in the trailer, you'll note that the rocket boosts themselves vary between 3 to 6. Pending the tier. Our tier 7 BZ-58 will be equipped with 3. As you move up in tiers, the quantity of boosts, of course, go up relative to that. Some background information for our BZ-58 here. Development began in the late 1950s under the concept of creating frontier covering tanks. The project's distinctive feature was the combined hull. Its frontal armor was cast with large upper glacis slopes, while the rest of the hull was welded. The vehicle was supposed to feature an autoloader in the rear recess of the turret, and the design of the turret itself was combined. The welded base was complemented by the cast blocks on the vehicle's cheeks. No prototypes were ever manufactured, and the project was in fact canceled by 1970.
But not by us, because we think they're cool tanks.
Damn cool tanks. Up next, our follow-up rocket booster here, I'm still thinking the WZ-141 here, BZ-166 here. This one now moves up to 4 rocket boosters. And some additional information on this guy. In the 1960s, Chinese engineers tried to keep up with the leading tank building countries, so the projects included design solutions of different schools. The distinctive features of the BZ-166 heavy tank were the wavy surfaces on the frontal hull armor as well as the jet boosters. According to the design concept, such armor was to increase the chance of ricochets. The jet boosters could increase the vehicle speed for a short time. It was planned to equip the tank with 122 to 160 millimeter guns and use it for operations in fortified areas, as well as to destroy enemy engineering structures. It existed only in the blueprints, though. All right, Zotz, I'll pass it over your way.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so I'll jump into that Tier 9, that BZ-68. XP cost on that is $252,000. Silver cost $3,700,000. This has 5 rocket boosters. As Bam said, we get more rocket boosters as we go up. This is one of the variants of the Frontier covering tank. So this vehicle featured quite simple yet technologically advanced hull and turret welded from flat plates. It was supposed to mount 2 solid propellant jet boosters for crossing rough terrain, as well as for self-recovery. Okay, getting the hell out of Dodge. No prototypes were manufactured, and of course, this project was canceled by design phase in 1969. But again, not for us because we think it's really cool. And finally, at the top of the tree, my favorite, the BZ-75. The XP cost is $368,300 because we like prime numbers. Silver cost is $6.1 million. 6 rocket boosters. And this one is in the 1960s, amid tense relations with USSR. China came up with the concept of creating the what I was talking about before, the frontier covering forces. So the main firepower of this formation was to be units with frontier covering tanks in service. So a screen and combined arms, right? One of the projects for this was the BZ-75, developed in 1975 using the experience gained from developing the WZ-111 heavy tank. While working on the turret, engineers incorporated the design features of the WZ-1224 project. The BZ-75 prototypes, none of these, of course, were manufactured. That doesn't mean I don't love it. This thing's got a heck of a punch to it. And it just is fun to drive. The rockets on these, like anybody that played toy tanks in Winterfest, you know how that rocket can get you into damage or out of damage. These last a lot longer than the just spraying of the toy tanks. You got to aim and go. There's not a lot of turning involved. It's very as you're going. But man, to get up hills, to get your tank up to a hill in a situation fast, these rockets are fantastic. I have absolutely hit that panic button when I see somebody pulling their gun down on me to get between some buildings or in some cover. It's a great panic button to get out of the way. It doesn't make these things super fast. They're not like jumping in the air like Evel Knievel or anything, but it does give you that extra boost. And when you start learning how to use it right and like the length of it is a really fun and engaging tank. Plus, these guys can take a punch and they can put it out too.
Now, show of hands really quick here. Zotz, be honest here. I will admit, the rocket boosters, how many of us have actually careened over a cliff because we just couldn't maneuver in time? And
I've hit rocks, but I've never careened over a cliff. I've hit rocks, yeah. Again, takes some practice. Takes some practice.
The good news is, if you are heading toward a cliff and you realize that boost is still going for a few more seconds, just know you are still in a 10-ton heavy, very heavy tank,
Uh,
to pull on the
uh,
brakes, pull back, you can actually come to a stop. The rocket boosters don't constantly push you forward. You do just lose maneuverability.
yeah,
So
yeah, they don't have a Hemi in it. Yeah, that would be a cool skin, wouldn't it? Uh, yeah. One thing that we did test a lot, and a question that came up is like, if I'm rocket boosting, do I get better RAM?
hmm,
Am I ramming harder? Bam, do you
I
remember
mean,
the answer to that one?
it's all physics based, right? You are
Hmm.
a heavy tank. Yes, you're getting a little bit more speed, but I would say it's no different than a tank that also hits that same speed and same weight of a tank hitting
Yeah,
another tank of like lighter. So
yeah.
I mean, it's not going to feel the most impactful and be like, oh, really just wipe that guy out of here with that ram damage. It's kind of what you would expect for a tank that can already move that speed in the game right
Yeah.
now.
Also, pro tips: you got to be moving before hitting the rockets. They're not going to get you moving. They're just going to boost your speed as you're moving. Right? They're not. So don't burn them out at a full stop. You want to get going first before hitting that boost.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can use your brakes to hold on to stop, but we didn't always.
Yeah,
But
my
again,
strategy and use case for these tanks, typically I will always use one almost immediately at match start just to try to get myself into position a lot quicker. But honestly, I'm saving the rest of my boost based on the situation that is presented to me, right?
mhm.
Once I'm in position, I'm feeling like I'm in a pretty good spot, but I also need to wait for the rest of my team to kind of catch up with me, at least other heavies.
Yeah,
Um,
or I use it to catch up to the rest of my team once they've gotten to the
for
line,
that as
right?
well.
And you get through the areas to reposition. Remember, you only have a limited use of these things, so you gotta figure out how that tank works, and then using them in those right areas. But they are fun. The tank's got a good punch to them. Another really nice thing about these tanks is they all have low silhouettes, really strong holes in turrets, high caliber guns, and we already talked about the cool rockets, right?
For sure. And all these vehicles, they have low silhouettes, very strong frontal holes, and turrets, high caliber guns, as Zotz had mentioned, especially, I don't necessarily have a favorite out of the line itself. It kind of really depends on what tier is something that you favor the most. As you guys are making your journey up the tech tree itself, you'll find enjoyment through these tanks, especially if you are a heavy tank player. Um, but as you move up into the tiers, yes, you'll be able to punch harder. You'll get thicker armor into the front turret and the hull, of course. That does come at the expense of longer reload times, but you get extra boosts and a tiny bit more maneuverability in the chassis. But in any
Yep,
case,
yeah. Funky Monkey's talking about this has been really fun in early testing. They were to get the tuning. There was some launching. It looked like one of those things where you should have had the little moniker underneath you. Done with a professional driver on a closed track. There were times when we took it a little bit too far and and made some good jumps. I think I may or may not have a couple of these tanks sitting in the bottom of Lakeville.
aim for ace. Good to see you, good sir. When is a mercenary mouse coming with the rocket boosters? Want to see that
Ooh.
one go fast? He's reading our emails. They know what we have planned. Yeah, so Rocket Booster Tech Tree line coming to you guys this Tuesday. Look forward to it. And I did see the question come up earlier. Again, what line does this branch off of? Again, if you make your way up to the Type 58, and if you have it already eluded, the tech tree is ready for you to start the progression.
Exactly. Someone's asking about contracts next week. So actually, let's talk about a new challenge. Isn't the time right?
We can talk about some new challenges. No new contracts coming next week. Of course, we'll have more news on that and maybe another follow-up stream, of course. We have a brand new challenge called the Time It Right. And to start, you'll just need to deal 1,750 damage amongst 2 games. After that, you'll get a random timed challenge that will include another Time It Right that can give you some vehicle XP and boosters, or another one that can give you Commander XP and a 2 times XP boost, and another Chime challenge that could give you silver and a 1.5 times boost. Once you get these challenges, you will have just 1 hour to complete them as many times as you like. The only requirement is being able to earn more than 200 XP in any given battle.
Super duper. I did see Super Civ is asking about a regiment update. No
Hmm.
solid updates yet in terms of timing, but I can tell you that I spent the entire morning in regiment meetings and design stuff on it and reviewing things of how they're coming along, which are sexy. Yeah. Remember again when I talked about regiments, I think it was last week, that the regiments isn't going to be a one and done thing. Like a lot of the guilds that I've helped worked on and MMOs I worked on, regiments are a growing thing, right? We're building the foundations of it first and getting that out to you guys. And then there'll be updates happening. I don't know if they'll happen each seasonal update or how we're going to be sending that out. But we do have a roadmap plan for at least 2 updates after that to start filling in the ranks. But also that's when we're going to have more conversations about what you guys want to see in your regiments, right, and how you want your regiments to play, so that we can make sure that we have the time to take that feedback and incorporate it into make regiments the best for you guys. So that's my update on regiments this week.
More on that soon. And thank you, Zotz.
Mm-hmm.
Quick clarification. Thank you, KB. Actually, we do have new contracts going live next week. The Chisel, the Leo VT2, as well as the Smooth Man.
Smooth man.
Couple other questions that came up I wanted to address here. Elu Tico, if you were to drive off a cliff, could I use the boosters to fly back up and get them into a vertical pose? Well,
only when we get the cape option as a skin for your tank. And
yeah, superhero careening, daredevil like.
I have seen a lot of feedback. Mikey 35 Likey here is talking about breaking the 40K into 6 bundles so we can pick a preference tank instead of all the tanks. We love the fact that everybody's loving the 40K tanks. I'm a huge 40K nerd, although not as cool as Henry Clavell. But we have seen this feedback come over and over, so taking that into account. I don't think it's going to happen this time around, but do appreciate your feedback on that. And it has been noted, and Ops has been talked to, and we've given those notes as well.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Another rocket booster related question. Dino sees us. How many times can you use the rocket boosters? And from the time that you do use a rocket booster, when can you reuse it again? We covered, I guess, I probably talked on this a little bit too quickly, but pending the tier that you use of the rocket booster tank, it could vary between 3 uses all the way up to 6 uses. So like the tier 7 will give you 3 rocket boost uses. Tier 10 will get you the 6 uses. The premium tank, however, I believe, which is a tier 8, I have to go back to my notes. That one might be a 5 use. In any case, varies per tier, and it's a pretty fast cooldown between the uses themselves. I don't have the exacts in front of me, but I would have to gauge between 5 to 15 seconds after a use. So you can very rapidly keep the tank moving if you want to expel all your rocket boosters toward the beginning of the match or not.
Absolutely. My feedback on that is how long do they last when you hit the booster? The answer is not long enough when you're going up the hill, and too long when you're trying to get out of the way and trying to stop your tank. It's a balance on those. In terms of the refresh time, it is pretty quick because I remember in our original playtest, although we did tune it, I accidentally had my thumb on the button because I'm heavy thumbed on my controllers. I'm like Neanderthal thumbs. I remember like hitting it again by accident when I didn't want it. So that refresh comes up pretty quickly, and you have to be cognizant of it.
Yeah. Players are correcting us in the chat as well. Yeah, 4 to 5 seconds for the cooldown.
Yeah, it's quick.
And yes, booster stats are available in the tank description. Stat descriptions.
Mm-hmm.
So that's about it in terms of dev updates for us this week. We talked about the Vigilante, the tech tree line, etc., some contracts and new challenges. Otherwise, hey, we're still pretty early here. We got about 20 more minutes here on the stream. We still have an active giveaway going on. How about we open this up to a little bit, seeing the questions from you guys here in the chat. We'll kind of go through and help answer or provide some more context or information as we kind of go through here.
Absolutely. I mean, one thing that I love about the Friday Chat being on the stream is interacting with you guys and talking with you guys, right? That I don't get a chance to do that too much. So I'm really happy to see you guys throwing out so many great questions. Things like when the 8 660 be on sale. I don't remember. I don't know. Not my bailiwick. I'm creative director. Sorry. But we do save all these notes and go through them afterwards. Right? All the chats that you guys do. So somebody on the marketing and ops side will be looking at that.
Yeah. Soon TM. Let's see.
Omega
Local,
Maximus has a good question. You want to hit that one, Bam?
I'm assuming we're looking at the same one. Why did we
Mhm.
remove a lot of the emblems from in pages out of the game itself?
Oh, no, not that one. But that's a good question. We hit on that. We hit on that last week.
Or did you? Okay.
Yeah. But to reiterate, really, it's just a rotation thing. We're getting so many of them that we needed to kind of rotate them, and so the ones that are not there will come back, and some that are here now will go away. So it's kind of setting it like that. Although we are also looking at which ones, and I think KB touched upon this, like which ones are the golden idols, like googly eyes. Googly eyes should always be there, like the tried and trues. So we're also getting feedback from you guys as to those, and seeing like which ones we shouldn't necessarily ever take out.
Let's see. Another good question here. I'm not sure if this is the one you were referring to, Zotz. From Omega Maximus. There are a number of returning players that are coming since one of our previous updates that aren't offered in the tutorial, the T95E3 Era 1 Premium Tank. That is, of course, for those of you that might not know, that is a free tank that we give to new players when they join the game and they complete the tutorial. And the question is, can you just award all tankers that had an account before the 6.0 update and have this premium tank? I don't want to directly say yes to it, but we will certainly talk it with the teams to see how we can better offer it, of course. I think it's a great idea. We'll just have to get back to you on that one, of course.
Yeah. That's thanks for that. I think I think I agree with Bam. I think it's a really cool idea.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Devil Dog. Is there a reason the Night Stalker is hard to get into matchmaking? This was actually brought to our attention. Some of the things that we are applying in a lot of our matchmaking rule sets is trying to help push certain parity. So when you're let's say for instance, there is a tank that's very popular, brand new, and we know it happens where you might join a match and there would be kind of a lopsided match where you have a lot of this new premium tank on one team and you don't see a lot on the other side. And I get it. That can be pretty frustrating to feel like, oh my God, like this feels so imbalanced. We won't really have a chance, or it feels like that team might not have a chance. It's all like light tanks now. There's too many heavies on the other team and such. We applied some rule sets to help create more team parity on tanks. But what we have noticed, it has been brought directly to my attention as well, and we're working on some updates to this and improvements, that especially if you're joining in a platoon, this creates extra wait time and in the queue itself, and it's trying to also find another like platoon that may have, say, the Night Stalker present in there. We are going to be kind of changing these out a little bit, as tanks aren't quite as popular as they used to be. We can kind of like shake it up and ease up on the rule sets a bit. So hopefully in the very near future, the Night Stalker will ease up. I think we might even have that one in particular rolling out this coming Tuesday.
Yeah, because that was brought up before, so we actually did look directly into that particular one. But again, great question. Keep them coming.
Deep 6971. Is the game board coming back? Do you want to take this one?
Yeah.
Or you want me to comment?
Absolutely. It's a fun new tool. One of my jobs here in the actually, oh my gosh, in 2 days it'll be a year here that I've actually been creative director, and excited to be with you all. It was to make sure that we had different ways to work into the game with different styles of gameplay. The event container for Winterfest was something. The bingo games, or the game board as you call it, right, with different names or different things, will absolutely be coming back. We're actually looking at different ways to make iterations out of it for different types of gameplay styles. So the answer is yes and yes. We see you guys receiving them. They're fun for us to design and build, and it gives us as designers more ways to give you guys more challenges and ways to appreciate the game. So yes and yes.
Question from Crazy Devil 664. Is there any details you can share on the new Cold War Japanese line? No. Next question. Not trying to be rude, not trying to be dismissive, but no details we can share at this time.
You were asking all the right questions. Next question.
Dart Swinger. So, what happens to players who are currently not in a regiment or in a clan? Well, I guess I'm trying to just figure out the exacts on this question. Are you saying what happens to players that are not currently in a clan, and what happens when we roll out the regiments? Or are you saying what happens when regiments comes out and just players who are not in it? I might be missing some context on this one. Let me put it this way. If the players, it's like right now, if you are a player solo, not part of a clan, you can always join a regiment, or you can always create your own, of course. This isn't something that's locked to only specific users.
Absolutely. It'll be very engaging for everyone on that. And it's not, if you choose not to be in a regiment, it's not a minus to you. It's not like, you got to join a gang in order to survive kind of thing. It really just provides community and bonuses, and you'll see as we get to add more to that. As we roll out the roadmap and being able to bring out more details for you guys.
Yep. Let's see. Next question. We did answer this, but I understand if viewers are coming in a little bit later. Just kill me 6760. What tank do I need to grind before these new heavies come out? That would be the Type 58 in the Chinese tech tree line. World War II, of course.
Yep. I feel like it's time for the spin the wheel.
Time for spin the wheel. Let's see here. Hold on. How about one more question here? How was the BZ? Oh, I actually wish I would have dug into the data ahead of time. The BZ 176 performance, pen and accuracy. Maybe for next time we'll do a little bit of a dive into the data.
It could be one of the things. On Tuesday, will anybody be playing the new Chinese tanks?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I forgot to make mention of that. Stay tuned for Tuesday's stream where the team KB WingedRacer. I'm making the assumptions. I don't want to speak for you guys, but I'm assuming you guys will be leading the charge. Probably joined with Petty, of course. Checking out the Chinese tech tree line and making some progress up that way.
Yeah, absolutely. So you guys will be able to see it firsthand.
Yeah,
all the rockets, and we can set up a ramp, a map that best has the ramp on it, and you can watch everybody train Evil Knievel.
Okay. For one more question, then maybe we'll do a spin the wheel here. Crazy Devil again. When is the next community map playtest or any details being released? So really quick, we have no more actual play testing, public play testing of the current going community map. We gathered all the feedback from you guys. We've applied a lot of changes. I will tell you, it is looking stellar of a map. If you ever have driven down, if you're in the U.S. at least, if you have ever driven down Route 66 in the Utah, Grand Canyon-like area, Arizona perhaps, you'll get a lot of those vibes in the map itself. We were actually playtesting it internally yesterday.
Or if you're abducted by an alien, or watch Close Encounters of the First Kind. Very similar kind of stuff. As a matter of fact, the next step for the community map is for us to get you guys to name it. It's your community map. We wanted to get you to name it. I've been going with the Wile E. Coyote National Park, but that one's going to shut down already. So I think we need to set up a what do you call it? I'm losing my words here.
A poll, a survey.
A poll. Thank you. Yeah, poll survey for you guys to actually to help name the community map before it comes out later on this year.
I think we already have the winner. KB Mappy McMapface.
No Mappy McMapface. Oh, I already told him. All right, that's just your Robitussin talking.
Dave Land. I love how that one continues to come up anytime we have a community map name request. Dave Landia. The Dust Devil, interesting. Area 51. Badlands. Acme Field. But yeah, I do have an active ticket on myself.
Steven yet. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Zotz.
Said nobody's mentioned Steven yet.
Anyhow, more on that soon. We're a couple milestones out before we release that map, but we'll provide details.
Somebody's asking, will the teleport work in Release Vision?
Unfortunately, it will not. That was part of the fun event mode that we had run with it, and to have some, well, have some loose fun with the mode itself. We want to keep things still very competitive for you guys in random battle. But hey, that's not to say we might not run more event modes that have teleporters present in
It was
it.
April Fool's Day.
There's
There
always
are
a
moments.
perhaps.
Who knows? Maybe we'll randomize it. Go ahead, run straight into that wall, Wile E. Coyote, and see if it works.
I will apologize in advance because I know some of those teleporters gave players a very fun advantage by getting to certain areas, and I fear they might be trying to take advantage of that when the map actually releases, but we'll see. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. I think it's KB. We got the spin wheel up to call out our winners. Again, we're giving away 2 WZ 141s. So, KB, if you wouldn't mind, do us the honor.
Spin the wheel. Spin the wheel. It's looking like spring here, so I'm gonna guess green.
Are we taking votes here? Let's see.
I always pick my color.
All right, I'm going with blue.
Okay, because it's still snowy there.
Exactly.
I was talking to someone in Chicago. I'm like, "How is the weather?" It's like it's 15 degrees warmer. I'm like, "So it's 15 degrees?" Like, yeah. It was 0 the day before.
Oh, it's a red.
Oh, nice, Gaming God.
Congratulations, Gaming God. Yeah.
Woo! Gaming God 45P. Well done. Using your godlike powers. All right. One more. I'm still going with green. Still holding out with green.
I'm sticking with blue.
Wonton's picking red. Let's see. Spinning. I'm hypnotized.
Oh, I think you got it. Oh, wait.
Yeah,
Oh, I got the blue.
Oh, just barely.
Revanshan, 501. Congratulations.
Awesome. Well done, everybody.
As per usual, you guys will be automatically receiving your WZ-141s to your accounts.
Delivered by Steven in a flying saucer.
All right, how are we feeling?
I know, my bot was spring powers. Last week I was doing great. This week, not so much. That's okay. The recolor game. We're doing great. I think that's pretty much a wrap. We can close off a little bit early. Thank you everybody for your questions. Thank you everybody for your patience as we went through the Vigilante and the roadmap that took us all the way here and allowing us to take you on that journey of how we had to go about going through all those things. I look forward to your feedback playing Tuesday, and I'll be out there with you, jumping around and taking shots. So cool. With that, it's a wrap. Any closing thoughts, Bam?
Yeah. Thank you again, everybody. Happy to be joining you guys on stream. Hopefully I was an okay host. I'm a little bit new, a little bit rusty at this, of course. But in any case, KB, before we close out, are we going to be rating one of our players or community contributors today? Oh, we will find someone to raid. Excellent. All right, so everyone, stick around. We'll be raiding one of our other World of Tanks Modern Armor players here. And beyond that, have a great weekend, and see you all out on the battlefield.
And I think next week I'll just place myself with my Kermit the Frog, so they'll all be staring at you. Awesome. Thank you all. Keep your powder dry. We'll see you on the battlefield.
Bye all.